Hello everybody, my name is Jonathan and welcome to Bearly Unboxed. Happy May the 4th be with you day. Today we have some Star Wars figures. I have a very small collection of Star Wars figures. When I was a kid though, I had a ton of the Ewoks and they were my favorite. So I've been kind of rebuilding my mainly my Ewok collection again, and I do have a previous video, I think back from December. I unboxed the holiday Ewok as well as his original counterpart Ewok. I compared the two, but today we do have Wicket, my favorite Ewok, and this is part of the Black Series, but these are on the 40th anniversary card instead of the box, which is really cool. The only thing about these is you can't really put it back in the box. If you want to do that, once you take it out of here, that's pretty much it. But these were some of the other ones you could get that were on this old style retro card. I don't have any of those. I just got Wicket. And then it does say it's commemorating the 40th anniversary of Star Wars Return of the Jedi with figures from the Black Series featuring classic design and packaging. So that's pretty cool. Here is his barcode if you want to try to look for him. I honestly forgot to check before I did the video to see if he's anywhere online. I think I got this from Hasbro Pulse when it was on there, and I was very excited I was able to get it because I missed out on the smaller vintage Wicket, and I was originally going to collect the vintage ones because they're smaller and more classic, like the figures I remember as a kid, but the Black Series figures are a lot easier to get, I think. At least they look a lot nicer too. They're more detailed, I think. So we also have this Gamorrean Guard. Now he was available, I think it was last year around this time of year for May the 4th. And he was at Target. And these were some of the other figures you could get. We did look at this one. Poplu is in my previous video where I compare him to his holiday counterpart version. And this just says the same thing. And then here is his barcode. So we have that to open. He looks really cool. I really wish they would make the Gamorrean Guards from, I think it was the Book of Boba Fett, where they were walking around without any armor on and very, very cool looking that way, I think. They look very orc-like, I think. Okay, and then we also picked up from Ross. I think I got both of these from Ross. So we'll look at both of them at the same time. So we have Grogu. I wanted this one, but I didn't want to pay the full price for it because it just seems so silly to pay the same price for this that you would for this when there's barely anything in here. He's so tiny. He does have his little prim carriage thing. Comes with a frog. Comes with the Mandalorian emblem. I'm not sure, what is that? That looks sort of like a can of some sort. I think it's blue cookies, maybe. So that's cool that we were able to get him for $5.99 at Ross, and I did find him not too long ago. And then here is his barcode if you want to try to look for Grogu. And we got the Grogu shirt on. Grogu is kind of what got me back into Star Wars because I heard so many good things about the Mandalorian, and for the longest time I wasn't a big Star Wars fan because I didn't like the direction that it was going, and a lot of people don't like the direction it's going now, but I actually really enjoyed The Mandalorian and the Ahsoka show, and it's so cool to see these characters from the animated cartoon show up in live action. So Ahsoka is a favorite of mine. I think Rosario Dawson, who plays her, does an amazing job. Now this is her version from The Mandalorian. And here is the back. And if you want to read that, you can. I don't know if I showed Grogu's long enough for you to read, so let's bring that back in so you can read that if you want to pause the video. And she was also $5.99, and that was at Ross. So I was excited that I was able to find her. I do have a vintage figure of her, but I haven't opened it yet, and I think I'm not going to. I think I'm going to focus on collecting Black Series figures, and I'm not collecting as many as they make. I mean, there's so many characters that I don't really want in my collection. I like a lot of the alien characters, mostly, especially the Ewoks. So, and then lastly, we have this amazing Darth Vader figure from Obi Wan Kenobi, which was also a pretty good show, and it's called Duel's End. And if you notice, his face is showing through the broken mask because Obi-Wan broke the mask. And if you want to read that, you go right ahead. I did pick this up recently at Target. And I actually picked this up for a friend who I'm going to send it on to after we take a look at it. Because he's not going to leave it in the box. So we have to take a look at him, and I think he's going to be pretty cool. So let's start out with Grogu. He's so tiny. I think he's probably going to not take very long to review. He does have a lot of accessories, and the box is just taped shut with lots of tape. So I'm not sure how this comes out of here. I think it's, yeah. You don't even need to cut the tape on the sides, so that was unnecessary. Alright, so here he is without the glare. You can get a really good look at how adorable he is. It does come with a stand, so it looks like it's floating. So that's pretty cool. Alright, and then you can even put this lid on it. Like that. So that's neat. This is the tiniest little action figure I think ever. So silly how tiny he is. Alright, so we got that out. And the necklace, it looks like he can actually wear. It's appropriately sized. Alright, let's take a look at the accessories. So he comes with this little plastic case that has some stuff in it. And there's like a little frog, like the little one-eyed frog. Does this open? I don't know. It looks like it does. And you can take everything out. There's a tiny little ball. I'm honestly trying to remember. I've seen Mandalorian, but I'm trying to remember what all these pieces are. I'm not sure. So I'm actually going to leave that in there. That stuff is so tiny. And he is the tiniest thing I've ever seen. But his head does turn a bit. And his arms actually do pose. He doesn't have any feet. It's kind of... would have been cool if he had little feet. But he looks like he's kind of sitting a little bit. He's not standing. And you can put him in his little prim. It's very cute. It looks just like the show. And he would float around after the Mandalorian. Now let's see about this necklace. Can we get this over his head? I don't think we can because his ears. Maybe they are rubbery, so let's try. Yeah. It doesn't really work very well around his neck. There we go. I think you need to pull it over. Yeah. So there he is wearing his little Mandalorian symbol. Very cute. And the detail, the paint detail on him is actually really, really nice. So here is a little package of blue cookies, I think is what those are supposed to look like, because I remember those. I don't think he can really hold anything. He can hold that little ball in his hand, I think. His other hand does not have anything in it, but oh my god, his hands are actually posable like that, and they turn. To have that much detail on him. Now his arms only go up and down, they don't like go out, which is, you know, kind of annoying that he doesn't have that, but that's still pretty cool. So let's get him all situated. Now we're going to take a look at Ahsoka. Now that I know how to open these packages a little better. Alright, so these are really easy to be able to put back in if you want to like put them away in storage, or if you want to resell them. They're really easy to get back in their packaging. Now she does have the white lightsabers. So here is Ahsoka right out of her packaging. And it really looks a lot like Rosario Dawson. I mean, that's a really good resemblance. The head does turn. She has a upper waist joint. She has ball jointed shoulders, so those can go up. They do kind of click. They don't want to stay like halfway, but if you work with that, if you warm this up with a dryer, it might pose a lot better. A hair dryer works really well. Now her hands do turn. It doesn't look like they have much range of motion right out of the box, so you might actually need to warm that up a bit. She does have a really interesting knee joint because of the way her pants look. That's pretty cool how that works. I like that. The feet, and this does turn also inside. This front piece doesn't turn, so that's kind of interesting. And she does have the foot joints. Since these are made by Hasbro, they have a lot of similar articulation as Marvel Legends figures, which I'm very accustomed to. I have quite a few of those. That was my first thing that I was collecting when I started collecting again. Alright, so there she is with her lightsabers. They are slightly translucent, so if you put her like with a light underneath her, they are going to light up or glow, look like they're glowing a bit. So that's pretty cool. Now her head does turn a bit because her hair is very rubbery, which, well, her tentacles, or what are they called? I'm trying to remember what they are called. Liku, I think is what these are called. Her Liku are very flexible. So let's do the Gamorrean Guard and take a look at him. So these have tape on the back and on the bottom. So let me get that done. All right, and Let's see. I can't remember. I think I showed the barcode, but here it is again, just in case. All right. So this is going to rip the packaging. So just make sure you really do want to open one of these when you do open one of these type of figures. I am mostly an out-of-box collector. I do have some things in box, but with action figures and with dolls and lots of different toys, honestly, I collect a little bit of everything. You don't get the full aspect of them unless you get them out of the box. Here is the Gamorrean Guard right out of his packaging, and he's amazing. He has so much detail. He has a fuzzy skirt that looks just like how it does in the movies. Oh, he even has a butt. You can see his lumpy butt. And the really cool thing about this guy is I think his mouth opens. Yeah. So his mouth opens and he has teeth and a uvula and a tongue. That's pretty cool. That's a big mouth. There we go. That's a little more and he has very cool looking eyes. They are blue. And then his head does turn a little bit, but not much because of the mouth implementation. He does have a shoulder joint that goes up and down and around on a ball joint. He does have this armor guard here, so it kind of protects, or shoulder guard, so it kind of prevents you from getting full range of motion. All right, he also has elbows and a wrist joint, and then the wrist does go up and down a bit too. The joints on these are very stiff, so I definitely would use a hairdryer on them so you don't break them when you open these, if you have them or if you want to get them. And then he has the leg. This part right here is actually very squishy vinyl, like rubbery, so he can get a little bit of range of motion because of that. He has double jointed knees, which is really cool. And then he has the swivel ankle, and it goes up and down as well. It's very, very cool. And then he comes with 3 weapons, so he can only hold 2 of them. Let's get this staff in his hand. I think the staff is meant to be held by 2 hands. So very, very much like that. Very cool. And the Gamorrean Guards, they are kind of orc-like creatures that usually are guards. And they protect whoever they're in service to. And Jabba the Hutt had them in Return of the Jedi. Alright, let's look at the other 2 weapons. They just slide right in his hands, which is really nice. And there he is with the 2 axes. So, pretty cool. Yeah, it looks so much like from the movie. I'm very, very happy with this. I'm glad that I picked this up last year. I just hadn't unboxed him yet. I kind of had him on display in my my studio because I do have like 2 rooms where I have toys. I have my office here where I do videos, and I have an art studio where I make my artwork, but also I have some collections in there. That's where I have my Star Wars collections. And now we're going to open Wicket. This box feels like so empty compared to the Gamorrean Guard because he's so thick, so big, and has a lot to him. And Wicket is so tiny. I think in the movie he was known to be small for his kind. A lot of the Ewoks were bigger. I can't remember if he was supposed to be a kid. I don't think he was. Alright, so we got him out. It took a little bit of effort to get all the weapons out because they were taped in. He came with a lot of extra pieces. So here is Wicket right out of his packaging. I love how they did the eyes because they have, they're shiny so they reflect. Looks just like the movie. And I believe when I was a kid I used to like to take the hood part off because then they would look like a teddy bear. So I can't seem to get the hood off and I'm afraid I'm going to break it. So we're just going to leave it on. So he does have, his head is separate. So it does turn slightly, which is nice. He does have full range of motion on his shoulders all the way up and down and around. And he has not a double jointed elbow, just a normal joint. It is a little stiff, so I don't want to push it too much. Like I said, you warm this up with a hairdryer. I really need to keep my hairdryer next to me and use it off camera. So he does have a waist joint as well, and he does have pretty much full range of motion with his leg. He does not have knees, but he does have the full range of motion with his feet. They go back and forth and from side to side. So he came with a plethora of weapons and accessories. He came with a club. He came with the spear, which is often what you see him with in the movie and everything. He came with a torch. Now, it would be cool if this had a separate piece that went on it to make it look like it was on fire, but we didn't get that. And then he has a bow and arrow, which you can actually make it look like you're shooting. So let's try all these in his hands, see how they look. They're very rubbery, I'll tell you that. So they're really easy to get in his hands. His hands are also very rubbery. And there he is with the torch. And it is a little bent because it is rubber. Oops. Glad that wasn't on fire. Don't need dropping flames in my office. So that's that. All right, let's try the bow and arrow, and then we'll try the spear, which is what I will definitely be displaying him with. If his elbow would bend, which I'm having a hard time getting it to bend because he needs warmed up. But you could kind of sort of make it look like he's going to shoot the bow and arrow. But for the sake of display, we're definitely going to give him his spear. And there he is with his spear. It's very, very cool looking and very cute. Lastly, we have Darth Vader, otherwise known as Anakin. And the cool thing about this figure is it's actually in Anakin's likeness from the Obi Wan show. And the version of Anakin played by Hayden Christensen. And this Darth Vader does have a soft goods cape. Right. And he comes with his classic red lightsaber. The cape on him is damaged. And it's supposed to look like that because that's from the show. It even has like a cut in the back, like he got cut fighting. And he also has a soft goods undergarment, which is also cut. Like, he got damaged. And I'm wondering if they... Yeah, the back of him underneath the plastic, it might be really hard to see that. But there's a slash mark on his armor underneath. That's really cool attention to detail. Wow. And then he can hold his lightsaber. There he is. That's his only accessory other than the soft goods cape, which those do add to the price, so we're lucky we got the lightsaber, to be honest. His face underneath there is really cool looking. Yeah. And then his head does turn from side to side and go up and down a little bit. The helmet does not come off. He does have a waist joint that goes up and down a bit and left to right. And then he has the shoulder, just like Ahsoka. It's a little stiff and ratchety. And then he has elbow, double joint. And his hands are jointed up and down and go around. And then he also has, he can do the splits. And he has the upper thigh joint. That's always nice. He does have the double jointed knees. And his ankle goes from side to side and up and down for some very cool dynamic poses. Now, let's see if we can get him into a cool pose. The cape and everything is very bulky, I will say. So it's a little difficult to get him in a good position that he'll stay in. Alright, I think that's probably one of the better ways to pose him for now. There we go. And then he and Ahsoka can have a classic duel like they do in the last season of Rebels, the cartoon. The last season of the Rebels cartoon came out years later, after Disney had started taking over, when they bought Lucasfilms, and they wanted to kind of connect it to everything. And there's a whole part where they duel, and Ahsoka gets pulled out of the duel by Ezra, who's in the Ahsoka show. So, pretty cool story overall. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend watching the Rebels cartoon. It's one of my favorite Star Wars things ever. I love Ahsoka. I love all the characters. It's a really, really cool show. You'll have to let me know in the comments which character in this video you like the best. Do you have any Star Wars characters that you really like? A lot of people really like Princess Leia because she's such a powerful character. I myself am a total Ewok fan. And I know a lot of people, when that Return of the Jedi originally came out, were kind of like, about the Ewoks. But I love the Ewok movies for all their cheesiness. They're a lot of fun. And Wilford Brimley is even in one, which is kind of interesting. So, yeah. And please, if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications every time I put a video up. And also, information down below to all my socials, my eBay. If you're looking to buy some slightly loved toys, most of them are in really good, like, new condition. So I will talk to you all next time. May the 4th be with you, and have a wonderful weekend. I love you all. Bye.